morning and happy Thursday, everybody. This is Don Czechowski, the Director of Channel Sales for Fidelity National Title. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's Market of the Moment. I am excited with our special guest, Ms. Christy Ryan, today from RE/MAX Fine Properties, and we're going to hear a lot from Christy today. So, Christy, we'll be right back to you. My co-host each week, Ms. Sharon Terhune, the Vice President of Sales for Fidelity National Title. Good morning, Sharon.
Morning, everybody.
And filling in for Ms. Amber Kavark this week, we always love it when Annette's here, because whenever Annette's here, she usually lowers interest rates, makes money practically free. And I don't know if you've been paying attention lately, Annette, but Amber's been raising the rates. So we've got very high expectations for you this week, and looking to see that Annette nearly free money showing up this week. And as always, Ms. Mindy Jones, the owner of the Amy Jones Group with Keller Williams Integrity First. Good morning, Mindy.
Morning, guys. We've got some good information about what's happening with inventory.
And we're really excited to hear what your experiences have been over this last year and how things are looking in the luxury market.
Well, thank you for having me. It's certainly been an amazing COVID ride for the luxury market here in the greater metropolitan Phoenix area. We have really seen this phenomenal. It was a little tiny pause last March when the COVID, came to our world, and things kind of paused for a short while. But within a few weeks, it just took off. And then really we saw the huge acceleration in the luxury market sales really start June 1st, if we can mark a spot. Between June 1st and the end of the calendar year, December 31st, there was phenomenal increase in sales, and luxury sales being $1 million and up. But of the really big sales, obviously too, that was probably the biggest show. Basically was people coming from a ton of California. We have a ton of California coming over here, but we have other places coming here too. I mean, we have around the United States, around the world, locally, those moving up. But the focus was basically, hey, if the luxury client can't go to Europe and travel for a month or go do this or that they were used to doing, what are they going to do?
And we're going to switch over to our mortgage update with Annette. And I saw one of your Facebook posts. It was, I believe, the end of last week or the beginning of this week. It's all blending together for me at this point. And but it was specifically talking about some new restrictions and agreements that Fannie Mae has made, and I was hoping we could start off talking about that and the relation to those changes and commitments they made to investors and to people who are looking for second homes.
Yeah, there were some major changes in that. And what's interesting, when it comes to their portfolio, they're really looking at downsizing the second home and investment space. So right now they're running over 7% of their portfolio is investment in second homes. And so they put out this announcement last week that they are going to downsize that, make sure it's 7%, no more than 7% a month would they buy in mortgage-backed securities for second homes or investments. So really, what does that mean for us? What does that mean for our second home buyers? What does that look like for them? And I'll tell you that it looks a little bleak. It's going to cost more for them to purchase these types of homes, whether it's investment or second home. It can actually, some lenders last week, it immediately shot up their pricing. Others, like Guild, we didn't do that quite yet. We did a little bit, but they're anticipating 5 or plus more points just to get into those particular homes. So you'll be seeing a lot of mortgage lenders go in and say, hey, we need to find a private investor. We need a private investor for these second homes, for these investment properties, instead of selling those mortgages back to Fannie and Freddie. So you're going to see a lot of that, I think, over the next 6 to 12 months. People will offer specials for those. But right now, in the immediate interim, you're going to see the pricing go up on the pricing on the rates go up on the second homes and the investments.
I know that you and your team have been out there getting as many listings as you can to help the inventory situation. So we appreciate that. So how are things looking?
Yeah, so it's really, today is really one of my favorite episodes. I think each week I probably say that, but Christy did a really good job of giving us a baseline of what's happening in the market. She's right. We sit well under 4,000 listings available in the market. I think, you know, what's really interesting about properties up to $1 million where you're not seeing as much of that cash come into play is a lot of these things that Annette is talking about as far as that volatility goes, that's really impacting that under $1 million range. And so, you know, you guys know that I write the market update for the Gilbert Sun News every month, and I just sent that over to them yesterday. And the whole theme is that there are very early signs of some shifting in our market under $1 million. And there's some good themes there, right? So, you know, I think the first piece that we talk about is really the folks who do still have cash to be competitive in that under $1 million price point. What we're talking about with our clients, you know, at that price point is how much do you want to pay a month, right? What do you, when you find a house, right? We're getting away from talking about how much we think it's going to appraise for, because right now appraisals are so all over the place. We've had houses appraise that really shouldn't have. There isn't really a reason for them to have appraised. I mean, we as listing agents do everything we can to get them to appraise, obviously, but there are times where I've had properties appraised that there really is no reason for them to. And then on the same side, we've had properties come in at what I know is under market value because the appraisers feel some sense of responsibility for what they think could happen to them as values change, and that they're responsible somehow for overvaluing properties throughout this process. And so they purposefully come in and undervalue the property. And I know from the minute that I talk to them at the house that that's going to happen. So because the range and appraisals right now are so great, we're really trying to get away from talking to our clients about how much something is going to appraise for. And we instead have the conversation of, how much do you want to pay a month? What can you do? What are you comfortable for a monthly payment? That tells us how high we can offer.
Next week, we're going to be back, and our guest is going to be Mr. Curtis Johnson. And for those of you guys who don't know Curtis, Curtis has, you know, when it comes to branding and building out that brand, Curtis has done an amazing job, and he's going to be sharing some insight into that process and how he's arrived where he has through doing that. So we're really excited to host him next week. Thank you all for being a part of this today. I know Annette had to run, so so we just really appreciate everybody and look forward to talking to you next week.